Yes. Good morning. This is Norma. With Norma Talks, after a little bit of kerfuffle this morning, first of all, I bought a new phone. And then I found something that actually gets sent up every few days. It's a heart monitor I have. Of course, it's not paired to the new phone. So I spent quite a bit of time trying to pair it. And I began to get more and more frustrated. And the more frustrated I got, I realized, I don't know how I'm going to get this done. What exactly is the issue? Because it's just not pairing. And so it made me think of I was getting frustrated. And I was thinking how that fits into the formula that I have in the Sad Mad formula. And I actually had it sitting on my desk because I quite often have to refer it to clients and stuff. And it is a sheet. And if anybody ever wanted it, you can I can send it to you because it's just a sheet of paper. But anyway, it reminds me, if we look down, is that is because you're feeling helpless. And I was feeling very helpless this morning because every time I tried to pair this, which takes quite a few minutes, it would say, no, it's not pairing. And I think I might have inputted something incorrectly, but I can't get back to the inputting to check it. So here we go, a little bit of a roundabout loop. So I close it down, forgot about it because I had to get on with this. Then, with all that going on, I forgot that this is June the 1st, and I usually do a tarot card reading in the beginning of this to talk about the month. So in my confused state, in my frustrated state, I better just mention, yes, I have a block on my nose because I had a surgery on my nose, and it's stitches are coming out on Saturday, so I'll be sort of good. And while I'm mentioning it, no Wednesday next week, because myself and a friend are going on a journey for a week, and we're doing a lot of driving. And next Monday night, mental mind, we're driving, and Wednesday we're driving early, so there won't be time to do that. But I will be back for Sunday Thought, and I will be back for the following week. In the meantime, I did do a reading, and it was actually one of my friends that comes on before we record this reminded me that that this was June the 1st. I had just totally forgotten. And here is the reading. I hope you can see this. And if you can't see my tarot card reading up, I know one of my friends will come on and tell me, can't see it, but I can see it. So therefore you should be able to see it. This is what I got for June. And I haven't had time to even look at it because they were still talking while I was putting this reading out. And thank goodness, my tellus who I use here, some mornings that it takes a long time to come through, but it came through quite quickly. So, okay, let's take a look at what it's saying. And in the beginning, if we look at the first, I don't always never know if this is actually sees my little pointer, but if we look at the first symbol here, it's an attitude, what I call an attitude card, where the man is in command. There's a lot of command and but to me, in the first, I want to go to about the 6th or 7th. So it would be almost the first week of June. There's a lot of talk about money and restriction, and everything is being, to me, it feels like, how when you want to seal something and you take a hammer and a nail and you box it up so that it's in a box. That's what it feels a little like to me, is that there's an awareness of money or shortages or everything. It doesn't feel great. It feels very hemmed in, which is exactly the time period my friend and I, not quite, we're traveling. Now, as we move into around the 10th, it is around the 10th, 7th through, it's like there's a lot of introspection that's going to take place. People are going to be going inside. And the next couple of symbols talk about that, right? Like from I want to go the 7th to the 17th, maybe even 20th, is a lot of introspection and people beginning to become aware of their own power. Every one of us has a power, an internal power, a power of connection, a power of knowing. Most of us and especially the people that are listening to me, have had other lifetimes. And in those lifetimes, they have gathered information, they have gathered knowledge. And it's like when we've got here in the middle here is the hermit, is the person that listens to himself, has his own answers, and looking down and making conclusions. But the next symbol, the star, has so much awareness and so much knowledge of before. It's like, and we dip into that. I just love that. I love the symbology of the star, because to me, it represents a lot of what's happened in my life. Is that if you look at the two jugs, one has a lot of, in the pool of the subconscious, a lot of water pouring in and a little bit out to the earth to feed the earth, of which one stream comes back, because all the people that we teach or all the people that we work with, a few sort of comes back to either say thanks or acknowledge or whatever. And it's like, I think that what's going to happen here is that people are going to become aware. And I love it followed by the world, because it's like things being put into balance. The awareness of knowledge and the awareness of where. I think there's going to be a big opening to the knowledge element that's going to happen. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a real sense of direction of being. And then with this whole element of how it's working and going, we follow as we go from the 20th, or so we'll say the 20, maybe even 22nd, into the last 10 days of the month. We're coming into the summer equinox as well. Solstice, is it solstice? No, it's an equinox, I think. And it's whatever. We're changing into summertime. But what I see here is the knowledge that has been gained, or the awareness that people have gained. It begins to be aware everything is possible to create, that we can have. I think it's something to do about having a voice, being listened to, not just walking along and just saying, oh yeah, well, this is how it is. It's like people waking up, people being aware of the possibilities of knowing, well, we have a voice, we have action, we have the ability to be able to create. And one of the elements that we see here as we go on into, say, 24th, 5th of the month, heading towards the end, is some frustration. And that's, isn't that funny? That's kind of what I was touching on today anyway, was frustration. Is that we're frustrated because no matter what, there are still people that are maybe controlling or dealing according to their plan. And you're kind of like feeling, well, what am I supposed to do with this? I would like this different, but what do I do? A lot of questioning, a lot of mental questioning here about it. We've had the awareness and now we're questioning. And so that means letting go of some of the old beliefs, some of the old ways, some of the ways of what we're doing. And maybe the money part, because again, coming down to the very end here with this Two of Pentacles at the bottom is the balancing of the money, balancing of affairs of life, putting things in perspective. When we have a personal awareness, I'm just going to stop this so I can there. If we have a personal awareness, what happens is we have to integrate that into our lives. And I think this is what's happening in this month of June. Now, I've heard from friends who listen to astrologers and listen to that or this or the other, and they've all said this has been coming. And I all of a sudden can see there is a shift going to happen this month of June, a shift of awareness first, can and maybe perhaps evolve around the monies, especially by the end of the month. We'll know more as we get into July. But I want you to be aware and listen carefully to different aspects that are going to come out. More awareness in the whole, you might say, in the world, of our world, because I usually look at North America for this. And it's, I don't know, I'm excited. It's kind of like the first little while, but then that middle part, man, that is stupendous as far as I'm concerned, because we, the people, are relying on what we know. It's like listening to the depths of yourself and knowing this doesn't sound right, or this doesn't seem right, and being aware of your own power, of what you, the person who has you have a voice, no matter what and how they go, you do have a voice. And your voice is important. Your voice is there for what you want to create and to do. And yes, towards the end of the month, there may be that little bit of frustration as to how, what, when, and where. And as I've already been talking about frustration in my morning, I want you to be aware. I really am happy. What I see here is of change, real change, not supposed change, but real change because of the people, of you and I, becoming aware and beginning to maybe add 2 and 2 does make 4, not 5 or 3. It makes 4. It is coming, awareness is going to come. And it's going to come in such a way that you'll be able to see and know that what you feel on the inside is correct. Now, you all know I do all this work for people as, well, I think you know, the transformation work. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some new clients in the last while. And it always amazes me how similar we all are. We are similar. We may look different on the outside. We may be different ages. We may be different sexes. We may have different beliefs. But the bottom line is how similar we are. We've had traumas that have affected us. We've had other things that have gone on that have created, and we've tended to respond similarly. Often we think we're the only one that has felt this or experienced this. And then I know, because every day I see similar things. Exactly the same, not necessarily exactly the same, but similar. And our reactions are similar. Our reactions are always the same. And often people are just frightened and afraid because of traumas they had as a child. And then they seem to be represented in the world. And that's what I found. So let's go back over some basics, if we may. According to me, now this is my things that I've come up with through reading, being taught, just contemplating different things to make it work. Because of my past life work, I came to realize, at first it was all about past lives, then I realized we have future lives. So it's just lives, and I'm still working on changing my language. You know, the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, sometimes I keep saying past lives rather than other lives. But other lives, we have had experiences. And the soul, when it comes into this existence, comes in with usually a plan, and maybe made even the decision as to why they're here. I always take a look, by the way, when I'm working with people who show that the soul is involved, is look back to see where they've come from. Like, how did they arrive here? What was the purpose they arrived here? And there's so many purposes. I won't even go into that, but it's maybe one time, just put some of them together. It's quite interesting because, but sometimes they're dragging with them experiences from other planets or other places, never mind other lives. It's like when the soul first came here, and what tends to happen is their first set of lives, you could say, seem to be very much what they brought in with them. And then they kind of begin to get conscious of what this planet's about. But it's similar stories over and over and over again, how we arrived. Often we arrive by ourselves looking for a new experience. Sometimes we arrive as groups, and those are the people that are always looking for their family and never seem to find them. Because let's say you arrived as a group, which may be 5 or maybe 20, and usually you kind of hover in the similar lives, same lives most of the time, and then over time you spread out. Well, then you're kind of looking for your group. Where's my group? Where's my people? And I get that a lot. Where is my people? Well, that was a long time ago. And so you've got to begin to concentrate on you people, you inside. Anyway, so that's part of it. So, okay, the soul is anyway, in this time coming along, sometimes, usually starting by the embryo at about 2.5 months when the mum realizes she's pregnant. But I have seen it even just getting conceived, their decisions made. You run into an emotion of your mother's that comes into you, you make a decision. That decision puts your what we call personal programs in place and your belief system. Can you imagine you're no bigger than like this little and you're making decisions about yourself and about life? And they're based on your past experiences or your mother's energy. A lot of people carry their mother's energy right from that time. And then as you go on, when you have an experience, you go back and you remake the same decision over and over and over again, reinforcing that basic belief. I always say belief, attitude, and judgments all around. And it's a similar situation that has happened before, because that's where you go to originally to make the same decision. It's not like it just happened out of nowhere. Because all of you who are listening to these kind of shows, not only me, but others, you've been here before. You have walked this world. I've walked it for a long time in physical form. Sometimes some people walked it only a little time, sometimes longer. But it's like we've here. And even if you're not, it's new here, and you happen to be a little bit awake and looking at other things, you've had other existences and other planets. This is not a place where people arrive first. I'm sorry, a lot of people say that, oh, here you are, but this is not your first adventure into physicality. I've never found that. And I've read and done work with a lot of people. This is not the first. This is a different planet than the majority that are out there. But it's also a very beautiful planet. And it is also one that has a love energy that I have come to realize emanates from the insides. Plus, it welcomes us here. And do you know how I found that out? I didn't know that. I was very much in my head for so many years. And I was at a day when we're at a Buddhist retreat, and they did a Buddhist walk. And it was, for me, that little time that I spent was very significant, because we're outside on the grass and we're showing how to walk very slowly, heel down in the foot. Then you go to the next one, same one, heel down in the foot. And what I began to realize was the earth welcomed me, and then it released me. As my foot came down, the earth came up and welcomed. Then it released. And then you think back of what we know a little bit about the natives and their walk, how they walked gently on the earth, because they were connected to nature. And we today, because of the concretes and because many of us don't get on the grass or the sand or whatever, we don't experience that. I was fortunate that I had that exercise to show me the welcomingness of Mother Earth. Why do we call it Mother Earth? Because it's there like a mother. It nurtures. And it weeps, I'm sure, at times when we rape and pillage the soils and the beauty. But it has a way of repairing itself. And that's what humankind doesn't always recognize. I remember once we were in a meditation and there'd been a big oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And there was a hue and cry about this big oil spill. Well, me being me, I'm leading my meditation group is there, but I go down deep into what I have a talk with Mother Earth, which I have been known to do. And I said, basically about this oil spill and I was told, it's okay. We have something that will soak that up. Well, what happened was, while they're putting their chemicals out on the earth, an interesting weed emerged, and that weed absorbed the oil. We didn't need the chemicals, but of course, people own chemicals and they'll make money from pushing the chemicals out, etc. But the mother, we don't trust the mother. We don't trust Earth herself to repair. And so when people get really upset, it's like inside, that upsets me, because I realize that no matter what we've done, she will repair herself. She has ways and means. It may not be immediate, but it will be done. And if we don't do it, then we may not be allowed here for a while. Ever think of that? right now, people are, I know, I've read and I've heard, and I know by our weather that whether people have been playing with the weather. Well, there's a form of balance, and I'm not sure that many of us understand balancing, how we balance. We balance ourselves, we balance in our world. And I don't really want to go off into all of that because it does have a political element to it, and I don't really want to do that because I want to just lead us around about to frustration because I swear I started frustration of a new phone, frustration of many other little things, frustration in my nose beginning to itch like crazy because as it's healing. But you know, it's the knowing that all ends exactly well as to how it's going to be. It's knowing that things, as it showed in the reading, people are going to become aware somehow, somewhere. All of a sudden, there's going to be this inner journey about how we have our own, we have power within us. And in having the power within us, we can overcome. Isn't that been said before? We can overcome. And even though it may not happen exactly how we think it or do it, that we can. And so we must keep our objectives. It's funny, I was going to talk about basics today. I've kind of moved a little bit about that because, to be honest, I forgot to do my June, and my friend told me, reminded me, so it was very quickly. But I love what I did for June. I really do. It heartens me. And I, even though I'm going to be away a week traveling, which will be nice to see some different countrysides and things like that, I just want to really by wrapping this up, I want to really wish you a great couple of weeks. I really will probably miss a Wednesday morning not being here, but at the same point, I'm doing what I really always have loved to do, and that's travel and see new things and talk to friends and have a general fun. And I hope and wish that many of you are going to be able to do that as we move into summertime and the sun, which is getting warmer here, and I'm sure wherever you are. So have a good week, 2 weeks, because I'll be back in 2 weeks. Blessings to all. Thank you.
Yay!